Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all of you. All my colleagues in UiTM, USM, Unimas ada juga and all educators of Malaysia. We are on Cisco Webex today. So I'm Aisyah Saad, e-learning coordinator. So together with e-learning committee at the Faculty of Pharmacy UiTM, we organized this first series of e-learning, e-Microlearning webinars. So 6 sessions that is aimed to give exposure to the faculty members on the global mindset. So we have here Prof Karim, the leading global educator here. And we're also going to share current trends, best practices in the 21st century teaching and learning. So this webinar is actually based on this micro-learning approach. That is, the webinars are concise, 1 or 2 hours, deliver 1 or 2 skills or concepts that you can learn on the go. And it features top Malaysian experts on e-learning. We have here Prof Karim from Universiti Sains Malaysia. Next week, we're going to have Dr. Nobiha Ishukur from Universiti Technology Malaysia, and you will learn some best practices from the faculty members of UiTM Faculty of Pharmacy. And I think you can see from here the topics are quite exciting, quite wide-ranging as well. So that's a total of 6 micro-learning sessions from today until 11th of March. So please mark your calendar. And if convenient, if you can click on the follow button on the UiTM Faculty of Pharmacy Facebook so that you can get notified about the webinars and latest news about the Faculty of Pharmacy. All right. So the part that I like to highlight here would be the participants who attend all sessions will get e-certificates. And for pharmacists registered in Malaysia, we will provide the MPS points as well. All right. Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. I know that you're busy. You have grants to submit. You have also marks to submit as well. So thank you for making the time to come to this first webinar. And also, I hope you can also come for the rest of the webinars as well that we have organized. So today, we are very lucky and privileged to have Professor Dr. Abd Karim Alias, Director of CDAE USM, who is a very, very busy man. So welcome, Prof, to the first session, to the first webinar. Thank you for being here. And before that, let's hear from our Dean, Associate Professor, Dr. Shariza Shahuddin.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. I'm just going to say a few words because I don't want to, lack the time of us learning here. So I'll just, Assalamualaikum, and welcome everyone. It's really an honor to have Professor Dr. Abd Karim Alias here today, the Director of Development of Academic Excellence, USM, to give us an overview on the global learning, current teaching and learning, because we are in the shift towards, global classroom and also digitalization. So it would be an interesting webinar, which we all can learn from, and hopefully we can adapt for the improvement of our teaching and learning for the future, because we're not going back again to fully face-to-face, and that's for sure. So I know that I would like to stay for the whole session, but, I have matters to attend. So I will try to stay as long as I can. So I wish everyone a wonderful webinar, and thank you very much to Prof Karim for coming here today, as well as to the participants and our committee members for doing these wonderful webinars. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Shariza Shahuddin. So now we're going to just see, I want to move on to the next slide about Professor Abd Karim Alias. Yeah. So the title of today's webinar is there is the next one. It's a bit too fast. Let me just see. I'm actually, yes, okay, this is the one I wanted. I think sometimes when you use this online video conferencing, it can be a bit laggy. So that just, I think I double click it, that's why. Okay, so the title for today's webinar is Secret Garden and the Global Classroom. And as the Dean just mentioned, that I think this is one of the strategic planning of UiTM to be one of the global players in the higher education scene. So before starting the webinar, let me give a brief introduction about Prof. Karim, who is actually no stranger to anyone who's working on online courses, MOOCs, and e-learning. Yeah? But for the benefit of the audience here, Professor Dr. Abd Karim Alias is Professor of Food Technology at the School of Industrial Technology, Universiti Sains Malaysia. And as I mentioned earlier, he is the Director of the Center for Development of Academic Excellence. Yeah? He's a strong advocate of leveraging the internet as an alternative medium for learning and teaching. Prof. Karim's mission is to step out of the physical boundary and comfort of his classroom to reach out as many global learners as possible by sharing whatever little knowledge and skills that he has for the benefit of the mankind. So if you head over to Prof. Karim's website, you'd see that he has a strong online and global presence, not just a director and educator, but also in 2018, yeah, he's selected as Malaysia's most promising and influential researcher by the Ministry of Education. Right, that's briefly about Prof. Karim. Just a short housekeeping announcement. Kindly mute all your microphone. If you have any questions or any comments, please write them in the chat box at the bottom. Yeah. So without further ado, I'll pass over to the exciting session with Prof. Karim. Prof, silakan.
Terima kasih, Dr. Aisyah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera and good morning, everyone. My fellow colleagues from UiTM and I guess maybe other educators, academics from outside UiTM probably joining the session as well. So thank you very much, Dr. Aisyah and UiTM and School of Pharmacy, Faculty of Pharmacy, for inviting me for this session this morning. I'm very, very excited to share a topic, Secret Garden and the Global Classroom, a topic which is not only close to my heart, but something that I have been advocating for a long time. Well, if I count the time when I first bought my computer back in 1988 until now, probably more than 26 years. So today is basically, I would like to share a story, and I want to make a strong, compelling case why everyone should embark on online, and why we should look at online as not an option, but something that everyone should be part of it. Okay. So once again, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for keeping up and bearing with me. So this is a title that I would like to share with you. I'm very, very excited to talk about this Secret Garden and the Global Classroom. Yeah. The topic of this sharing of my presentation today is actually taken from my blog article, MOOC and the Secret Garden, Deciphering and Demystifying MOOC. I wrote this article in 2014, yeah, in 2014, in my blog called One Stop Learning. So that was in 2014. Then I moved this article to a new blog, because now I'm blogging on a platform called Medium, yeah, called Medium. And I changed the title a little bit, Secret Garden and the Global Classroom, how to step out from the physical boundary of your classroom. And this is basically the topic that I'm sharing with all of you today. All right, Secret Garden and the Global Classroom, how to step out from the physical boundary of your classroom. Basically, this is a story of, how I embarked into online, and today, basically my main mission today at the end of the session today is to inspire everyone, not only in the session today, but everyone who will listen the presentation afterwards, the recorded version of it. I want to inspire everyone, especially Malaysian, to embark on online and to be part of the so-called global educators and content creators as well. This is my mission today. So, if you see this picture, the girl blowing the dandelion flower here. So, I wrote in my blog article. By the way, I really encourage you to read the full article of this blog article. I have shared the link in the chat box. So I wrote there, do you want to be a global educator with a strong web presence, or would you rather stay in the confined physical space of your classroom? Yeah. And do you want to educate thousands of learners around the globe, or would you rather be the sage on the stage for a small number of students in your classroom? So that's the questions that I throw to the reader or to the participants here. If you read again the question here, so what would be your answer? Okay, and I also wrote this one, in the same article. The vivid image of the young girl blowing a dandelion flower is so powerful that I imagine myself as the agent of change that blow and spread my knowledge and wisdom to help change the world for the better. Am I just dreaming or be too ambitious? Well, I think it is not a far-fetched idea. If anyone can fly now, almost anyone can also be an educator, not only to teach within a small physical boundary of the classroom, but reaching out to the global lifelong learners. So this is all about stepping out from the physical boundary of our classroom and join the global educators. That's the main message of this article. And in the same article, it's quite a long article actually, I wrote this. And when I read this again, it's just amazing. I believe in the next 10 years, and it was in 2014 when I wrote this. I believe in the next 10 years, online education will no longer be considered as an option, but will become a new normal. The word a new normal, so little did I imagine that this so-called new normal came sooner rather than later. So this is very interesting, something that I sort of predicted in 2014, that online learning will become, a norm, a new normal. But then in 2020, 6 years after I wrote this article, it is really now become a new normal. So, ladies and gentlemen, Secret Garden and the Global Classroom, basically I want to share with you these three things. What is it? What does it mean by Secret Garden? And the philosophy of open education. And these are some of the terms: OER, Open Educational Resources; MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses; and micro-credential, relatively new. And the global classroom, the concept and the philosophy of the global classroom. So the late Nelson Mandela said this: education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. And we should consider ourselves very lucky and very privileged to be an educator, a teacher in the school, lecturers in the university, in the college, and in any other educational institution. We are in the right place, we are in the right position now to play our role to change the world. Because to change the world is about nurturing and growing the people, educating the people, and this is our role. If we can make the change in one's life, then we already contribute to the world. So usually people we do call to action, just like in doing marketing, a call to action is usually towards the end, but I put a call to action at the very beginning here. Okay, the call to action here is this. I want to urge everyone to join me as part of the global educators. Come and join me on a mission to become a global educator. Jump on the bandwagon and join me as a global educator. We need more Malaysians to be part of the global community, to be part of the global educator, to be part of the global content creators. As the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, let's go together. And when we talk about global classroom, it's actually the spirit of sharing. Sharing is caring. So I share, therefore I gain. Share whatever little knowledge you have. Everyone has some knowledge. So don't wait until we feel that we are an expert in something. Then you'll never get things done. So whatever little knowledge that you have now, share in many different forms. So if you want to read this blog article, the title is My Journey in Online Education and Why I Love It So Much. This on the Medium platform. You just Google the title, then you should be able to get access to this one, and you can read how I get started to be involved in online learning, online education for the past 26 years, and why I still believe and I still advocate. I'm still advocating online because I really believe in it, the power of delivering education and reaching out the global learners through this medium. By the way, all the slides that you are seeing on the screen now, I will share the link for you to download at the end of this presentation. Yeah. Now, I want to show you this video. Probably many of you have seen this video, and I want to think of one word. Please think of one word to describe about what you see in this video. Yeah, so let me play this video.
You count. Wow, my expectations are high. Oh, here you are. You ready for this? Yeah. 3, 2, 1. And here is the teamwork of an elephant. So I need a volunteer. 1, 2, relax. What does it remind you of? One, 0. T with Walter Lewis. 45.6.
It's not until you fall.
I'm telling you.
This is actually Professor Walter Lewin, a professor of physics from MIT. Yeah, he has already retired for many years already. So how do you describe what you see in this video in one word? So can you please put it in the chat box in one word? One word only. Fun. Okay, I can see fun, real, practical, animation, passion, unconventional. That's good. Fun, animated, learning by doing, enthusiastic, interactive, excited, exciting. What else in one word? Awesome. Yeah, real. All right. Thank you very much. And can you imagine, this is what Walter Lewin basically does in his classroom with a group of MIT students, maybe 100 students or 100 plus students in his class, in the physical boundary of his classroom. Imagine if MIT did not embark on so-called open courseware. That was in early 2000 when they decided to record some of the video, some of the classroom in the form of video, and share it on the internet. And if they did not, not done that, we would not be able to see Walter Lewin in action in his classroom. We will not be able to have access and to see how actually the quality of the delivery in the classroom by MIT professors. So basically, what I'm trying to say here, Walter Lewin was in his own secret garden. What happened in the classroom, stay in the classroom until MIT decided, okay, let's open up to the world. Let's record our video. Let's show what the quality of MIT education is about. And by doing that, millions of people around the world have access to MIT education. Millions of, thousands of students in physics can learn from Walter Lewin because they can watch the video on YouTube. That's basically, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, what I mean secret garden. So the secret garden, what I mean by secret garden, our own classroom. For a long time, for centuries, we do things in our own classroom, and even until now, the secret garden is still prevailing. We are still doing our teaching in the classroom, and usually, sometimes, we don't like people to peek into our classroom because we feel that our classroom is only for our students. And don't you think it's such a waste? Because the knowledge that we share among a small group of our students, if we don't share to the world, the knowledge will only stay within the small confine of our own classroom. So this is where we want to now move from our own secret garden, step out from it, and let's share the knowledge that we share with our students with the world. So that's what secret garden and the global classroom is about. Yeah. So Walter Lewin, in his class, creates a so-called magic moment. And he does everything within his own secret garden with his students. But now, when MIT decided to record the class, everyone around the world now, especially those who want to learn more about physics, they can see they can share and they can learn from Walter Lewin, the best physics professor in MIT. So knowledge basically spread out from the MIT classroom to the global classroom and benefit millions of people around the world. Don't we want to do that so that we can share our knowledge with millions of people and continuously will benefit people, and we never know, it will change the life of many people around the world. So you can see if you Google Walter Lewin, physics professor, you will see a lot of articles on him. This is actually from the New York Times. At 71, physics professor is a web star. Professor Walter Lewin, number one on the most downloaded list at iTunes U for a while with the object he uses for his physics lesson. So this Walter Lewin in his classroom. Yeah, and then some of the feedback from students. The students say, through your inspiring video lectures, I have managed to see just how beautiful physics is, both astounding and simple. This is from a 17-year-old from India. Imagine that this student is probably not able to study in MIT, and yet he can still study physics through the video of Walter Lewin on YouTube. And it's really inspire him maybe to love physics as a subject. And there's another email that he received from Iraq. Yeah? A friend who said he was a physics teacher from Iraq. Gosh, you are now my scientific father. In spite of the bad occupation and war against my love Iraq, you made me love USA because you are there and MIT is there. So this is what Walter Lewin has done for MIT. MIT is already well known, but now when MIT opened up their education through the through the recorded video, recorded classroom, and so on, people can really see why MIT is such a very reputable, high reputable institution, because the quality of the professors, just like Walter Lewin. Okay, and Walter Lewin has written a book for the love of physics. So you might want to get a book. I have a copy of this book. It's such a very nice book to really inspire us to be a great educator, and try to benchmark how we deliver our class in the classroom, or in the online or physical face-to-face, the way that Walter Lewin does. So I want to show you this video. Let's watch this video.
A few years ago, a professor taught a climate change course, reaching about 100 students per semester. One day he thought,
if I could upload this course online, then not only would my 100 students have access to it, but others as well.
So he did. And this is what happened.
Anna sent the course's content across the country to Alex, who was studying climate change.
Alex found it so interesting that he forwarded a copy to his friend Lulu in Africa.
Lulu was developing peer-to-peer courses with Philip, so they remixed the content with other resources and created a new course about the impacts of climate change in Africa.
Alan, a participant in the course, shared the content with Gabby, who was studying environmental policy in Latin America.
Gabby brought the content to her class, and together they translated it into Spanish. After that, Gabby's professor shared it with his other classes.
Myra, another student, shared the content with her father, who passed it on to his colleagues.
Gabby's professor also forwarded the content to David, a colleague in the UK who was researching climate change. He updated some of the data, adapted it to his study, and published an article in an open journal. Researchers from all over the world were able to read the article.
David sent the updated content back to the original professor. By then, his course had reached so many more people than his 100 students.
Years later, many schools began to follow the example and open access to their content.
Governments began promoting the use of open textbooks, and students began saving money on books.
Other innovative universities began to open access to entire courses, making them available to participants from all around the world. These are open educational resources, teaching, learning, research resources that can be reused, redistributed, remixed, and revised.
Open educational resources are accessible to everyone: learners, teachers, researchers, parents, workers, citizens, to you.
This is open education, knowledge as a public good.
Everyone has the right to be educated, yet only a few have access to school.
Open educational resources increase access to, improve quality of, and reduce costs of education.
Sharing knowledge is important.
Now you know, open educational resources give everyone the opportunity to learn.
Give everyone opportunity to learn. That's basically the UNESCO's education for all. This video is actually illustrate the philosophy of open education, the philosophy of global classroom and global learning. Yeah. So I'd like to invite the participants to share while I'm presenting and sharing this. I want you to think about it and share whatever the good points in the chat box. Yeah? I can see, for example, Dr. Ramiza here says ripple effect. Exactly true. Actually, by involving ourselves as a global educator, creating content, sharing resources, and so on, we can actually be one of the so-called the agent of change that create that ripple effect. So you want to be part of it, yeah? So when we talk about open education and education in general, actually, when we look around, there are still many parts of the world, including in Malaysia, where access to education, we are talking about access to education in any form, is still a challenge. So you can see the picture here. It's, you know, when I saw this picture, I thought, wow, I cannot imagine as, you know, parents. Look, we are talking about how we are struggling with PDPR nowadays, you know, at this time. But look at some people around the world, in certain part of the world, their children is actually going to school, having to cross the river, and this is like a bridge here. This is real. This is real. Yeah. So when we talk about open education, global classroom, really the access is still a big issue. Yeah. Access to education in any form is still a big issue. So I think we need to really open up our mind, our eyes. We need to change the paradigm. We need to look at beyond our classroom, beyond the physical boundary of our classroom. During my presentation, I will reiterate this point again and again. The needs, the real needs, why we should really step out from the classroom and open, you know, a kind of open up our perspective to look beyond our classroom. The philosophy of open education is such an important thing that we need to understand now. And of course, United Nations through UNESCO, they have this, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26.1, which states that everyone has the right to education. And the education for all has been around for some time. But at that time, there's no mechanism to really implement or execute this education for all around the world in an easy way, you know. So until when we have the internet and the technology, the technology like the mobile phone, the mobile devices, and the internet connection, and so on, where the connectivity is increasingly become more and more prevalent. So this is all about open education in open classroom. It's about reaching out the global learners, delivering education for all. And this is where we need to see our role in the bigger context. Are we doing this our part, or are we still, you know, staying within the confine of our classroom? Okay, and education for all evolved into the Sustainable Development Goal, and we have 17 SDG or Sustainable Development Goal, and goal number 4 is basically focus on the education part. So Sustainable Development Goal number 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And this is where you know, the concept of global classroom and everything related to it come into the picture. And we should ask ourselves now, are we playing the role? Are we playing our part to contribute to this SDG 4? That's at the individual level. What about at the faculty level, at the school level? What about at the institutional level? What about at the national level, where we are now in the bigger picture of the world, in the bigger picture of the global education? Now we have all the opportunity, great opportunity now, even though only a small role that we can play as part of the global educator. So this is what I'm trying to urge everyone now, you know, to join me, to be part of this and contribute towards the SDG 4 and also in our own blueprint. Okay, when we look at what is the driving force for this global classroom, global learning, yeah. Because of one of the driving force is the technology, the globalization, and the technology now is ubiquitous. The world now is almost like hyper connected, and the mobile devices are probably in almost in everyone's hand. It become cheaper and cheaper, and the technology become more and more advanced. But the question is, how do we leverage? How do we leverage all this, the powerful computer in our hand, to access education? But of course, I know some of you probably thinking that there are still a digital divide. There's still a lot of gap, just like in the picture that we saw just now. And of course, last year, in 2020, when during the pandemic, especially in the early part of the lockdown, so everyone is reading this story about Sabah girl stay. I don't know whether it is grammatically correct, but it's from the start. Sabah girl stays in tree to get internet connection, and this become like a national news. So it seems that in certain part of even in Malaysia, the connectivity is not yet widespread. Even though in Malaysia, the internet penetration now is, according to the report, is around 80% plus, but the quality of that connection is not consistent. Some actually, some part of the, especially in the urban area, the connectivity is very good. Some in the rural area may be very bad or maybe almost non-existent. So these are the things that we need to address. This is another news. More students in Malaysia are climbing trees due to poor internet connection. So the exponent of online learning, those people who are opposed to the idea or not very keen to the idea, they always use this as an excuse. They said, oh, okay, we would deprive people who don't have the internet connection or who don't have the devices, the laptop or the phone. So we should not go to online. Well, my answer to that, let's do whatever we can first. Anything that, that we have available to us, let's use it. Let's utilize it. Don't wait until the internet connection is 100% all over the world and all over Malaysia. If we want to wait until that point, then we will never know when that will happen. But we know that from some of the statistics here, this as of January 2020, so probably soon we will see the data for 2021. But this will give us a rough idea. When we look at the total population, our 7 point something billion, about 5.9 billion, 5.2 billion has some form of internet connection. So the internet penetration now is about 67%. Yeah, this actually for the world, but for Malaysia now it stands around 80%. And the internet users, as you can see here, 59% penetration globally, but in Malaysia about 80% now. And then we have the active social media users that the penetration about 49%. But the growth is quite rapid. Yeah, the growth in the internet connectivity, the growth in the social media usage, and so on. So it will increase. It will increase. So this all the reason, we have all the reason now why we should start to embark on online education and online learning, so that we can leverage on the power of this technology. Yeah. And with the technology that we have, the internet and the internet connection and the content creators around the world, we have exabyte of information now that we can access, and everything can be accessed from our smartphone, from our device. Exabyte of information literally in our pocket, because it's can be accessed from the phone, and the phone can be, we can put the phone in the pocket. So can you imagine that? Huge amount of information and the knowledge repository there in the internet that we can access through our phone. But those are the so-called the knowledge corpus, the corpus of knowledge created by other people. Where is our own content? Where is our role in terms of contributing the content, contributing to the exabytes of information there in the cloud? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to convince you that we are living in the exciting era now, the digital era, and we have all the opportunity to be part of it. It is so exciting to be part of the learning revolution happening around us, with new learning paradigms and technologies emerging on daily basis. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow academics, the future of learning is open. It's already open. It's already here. Okay. Open means what? Open means open source, like our Moodle platform is open source. Unix platform is open source. Free resources, we can get a lot of free resources. We can download from SlideShare, from YouTube, from a lot of places. Research that is publicly available on the web is also part of the open education movement, open resources movement, free courses, free enrollment, open license. So now, moving forward, we are talking about open ecosystem, open resources, open education, open learning, versus perhaps 20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, proprietary. At that time, we cannot afford to buy a software because the software will cost us a few thousand. But now a small application, the app or the software, we can buy only with a few ringgit or less than 100 ringgit. It make it very affordable for everyone to have access to all this content. So open plus versus closed system. 20 years ago, people are so obsessive. Not obsessive, possessive. They want to keep everything to themselves. The spirit of sharing is not that kind of as like what we have today. But today is, more and more people are willing to share. The spirit of sharing. So there is something that I really, want to urge everyone now to share, especially I'm talking about educational content. Share your ideas, share the resources, everything, so that the more you share, the more people will benefit. You will change the life of many people, and also you will gain a lot. The more you share, the more you gain. And I can testify to this. A lot of stories that I can share, personal stories, how I gain more by sharing more. Yeah. So open also means few barriers. Anyone could be a player. This challenges all providers of education. So the providers of education is not only from the institution or from a publisher or from the formal entity, but everyone now, everyone that has some knowledge can share their content, and they can basically change the world by sharing their knowledge. So let's see a little bit how this concept of open education has evolved. Yeah. So I don't want to take you back too far. Maybe we can start with around early 2000 or at the end of 90s. Yeah, a humble beginning for making from making resources freely available to open, massive participatory learning ecosystem. So it's basically kind of the initiative that really sparked the open education movement was by UNESCO when they championed the so-called OER, or Open Educational Resources, and Open Courseware by MIT. Is where Walter Lewin come into the picture, which was launched in early 2000. So that probably now 20 years ago already. And UNESCO, I will talk about OER next. OER, Open Educational Resources Declaration in 2012, and then MOOC in around 2012. Yeah, MOOC, basically 2012 was declared, so-called declared as the year of MOOC. And now, from MOOC, we are talking now about micro-credential. That's how things evolve. slowly. Yeah. Let's look at OER first. Yeah. OER basically stands for Open Educational Resources. It actually surprised me when I have any discussion or forum or workshops. When I ask people, have you heard about OER? OER. These are among the educators. Yeah. OER. They scratch the head. Or what is OER? I think by now, all of us, the educators, especially in school and also in higher learning institution, should know about OER. Basically, stand for Open Educational Resources. And the champion behind this, that really spearhead this movement, is UNESCO. Yeah, as you know, UNESCO is the body under United Nations that basically in charge on the education part, and they are championing the concept of OER to support the education for all agenda, and now SDG 4, which basically on education. So in order to have everyone, to give education to everyone, they must have access to quality content, quality resources, rather than they have to pay. So now, a lot of content are still behind the so-called paywall, because people have to pay only they can get access to the content. So OER is about democratizing educational content, make it available free for everyone. So that would support the education for all agenda of UNESCO and SDG 4, quality education, inclusive education for everyone. No one should be left behind. So UNESCO has launched this so-called Paris OER Declaration in 2012, and I had the privilege to be part of it, to formulate the draft of OER Declaration, and I was there in UNESCO. It was such a memorable moment to be part of it. Feel very proud when they launched this. I was there in Paris in UNESCO when they launched this Paris OER Declaration 2012. And there are actually 12 points. You can Google about Paris OER Declaration and you can see there are 12 points in the declaration, which basically the idea is to promote OER to all the countries, to all the governments around the world. Yeah. So OER, the philosophy behind OER is actually the change in paradigm and how people look at content. Yeah. So change in philosophy, where we want to see knowledge as a collective social product, and the desirability of making it as a social property. So knowledge is no longer proprietary, knowledge is no longer private, but knowledge, we create knowledge collectively as a community, as a society. Everyone is playing their role, and then making it available as a social property, meaning that no one owns the knowledge, but it basically owns by everyone or accessible to everyone. That's basically the philosophy of OER. And this basically, the spirit of learning is sharing is caring. Yeah. And basically OER, I like to see this dandelion flower as a metaphor. So OER is basically, when you blow the dandelion, it will fly away, and basically the wind will blow and spread all over, and then finally it will land on the ground and then germinate and become a new plant, a new flower. That's how we can look at knowledge in that sense. We disseminate, share, distribute the knowledge, and it will, someone will benefit from it, and then they themselves will disseminate the knowledge, and it become viral. So that's where the ripple effect that we can create by sharing our content in many different platforms out there, to create that ripple effect, changing the life of people through the knowledge that we share. Okay. So open educational resources, or OER, are basically educational material, usually in digital form, but not limited to digital, that are shared freely and openly for anyone to use, using some form of so-called open licenses. And this is one of the UNESCO agenda to support SDG 4, to support SDG 4, especially with respect to inclusiveness. Inclusiveness means no one should be left behind, no matter what is their socio-economic demography or socio-economic standing, no matter whether they are normal people or disabled. So everyone should not be deprived of education. Everyone should have access to education. So in order to realize this philosophy of open educational resources, imagine if when we create educational content, automatically we own the copyright. By law, we have the copyright C, and then it's how do we want to share content freely and easily if the material is copyrighted? So in order to support the agenda of open educational resources, that is where we have Creative Commons license, which is a type of open license that would give some rights to the user, and also the public domain. In fact, most of the pictures that you see on my slide are actually public domain. I take from Pixabay mainly. Okay, so previously, copyright. So the issue of copyright is one of the things that that really kind of unlock the restriction to share content with public easily. So now we have Creative Commons. If you want to share your content easily and without having so much restriction, either you declare your content as public domain, which is the easiest and probably the most generous, or you can apply one of the 6 types of Creative Commons license. So it used to be all rights reserved, C, or no rights reserved, public domain, or Creative Commons is basically some rights reserved. So if you have not heard of Creative Commons, okay, let me ask a quick question here. How many of you have or know about Creative Commons license? If you have some knowledge about Creative Commons, please say yes. If you do not know or have not heard about Creative Commons license, please say no. A quick one. So I hope everyone can respond. At least I get some idea. All right. Don't worry, because you won't be penalized if you say no. I can see Dr. Nuriana is here. Thank you for joining, Dr. Nuriana, Dr. Olin. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. So my question is, how many of you have heard or know about Creative Commons, and how many of you have no inkling? You have no idea at all about Creative Commons? Yes, tapi lupa. All right. Yes. No. Yes. Okay. Good. Well, oops. Well, if you have not heard about Creative Commons, maybe afterwards you can explore. But ladies and gentlemen, Creative Commons is about unlocking and allowing people to share the content easily. So instead of all rights reserved C, we apply one of 6 different types of Creative Commons license. Creative Commons is actually reserve some right for the owner and waive some right for the users. So we call it all rights reserved C, moving to CC, Creative Commons, which means some rights reserved. Yeah. So I wrote in the article, in the same article, the secret garden and open classroom in the blog. This part I wrote, the philosophy of OER. I just read the text here. The philosophy of OER is very noble and simple. It's about giving away some of your author's right, the exclusive right, though, the right to copy, the right to distribute, the right to share, the right to the right to sell, the right to make money. Those are the exclusive right. The C, yeah, the C, the exclusive right, all rights reserved. Now, with Creative Commons, you waive some of this right. Okay, some of this right, for example, okay, I waive the right for you to use the content without asking my permission. There is already a lot of things there. Yeah, I waive the right for you to modify my content. I waive the right for you to even sell my content if you wish. That is Creative Commons, ladies and gentlemen. So it's about giving away some of your author's right to allow your educational materials to be used without infringing the copyright, without you feeling guilty. It's living up to the spirit of sharing is caring. Okay, picture this scenario. For those who has no knowledge about Creative Commons or some rights reserved, yeah? Picture this scenario. Let's say I write a small book, How to Nurture Growth Mindset in Your Classroom. It takes months for me to write the book. Really hard work. Now, I'm ready to publish it. Usually, when I publish the book with the publisher, I get C, all rights reserved. But instead of registering my book under normal copyright term, which grants me the exclusive right for all rights reserved, the C, I decide to opt for Creative Commons license or CC license, which grants readers some rights. Example, the rights to copy, the right to use, the right to share, the right to distribute. Those are some of the rights that we give away, we waive to people. So that's Creative Commons license. So ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about global education, global classroom, step out from our secret garden is basically open up our classroom, open up our content, make it available to as many people as possible around the world. There is Open Educational Resources, or OER. And by doing OER and by creating and sharing your OER, it will empower learners to assemble their own personal ecologies, their own so-called personal learning environment, personal learning PLE, personal learning ecologies, or personal learning environment to support their own individual learning pathway. And this will allow them to personalize their learning. Remember, learning on demand, just in time, just in case, just in time, just enough, and just for me. Just for me, meaning that I can personalize, I can customize according to my need, to provide learners the opportunity to learn in ways that suit their individual learning preference and multiple intelligences. There's no easier way to allow people to personalize their own learning. But when we provide them all the learning resources, they can create their own so-called learning playlist. Just like when we create the playlist in the playlist in the Spotify, in YouTube, you find a good video on one topic, then you can create your own playlist. That's essentially your learning playlist. You are personalizing your learning. Yeah. If you join my Discord. Yeah. If you join my Discord, Discord, maybe Liana can Olin can share my Discord link in the chat box. So my Discord is my own personal learning ecosystem, and I share it with the public. So anything that I share in my Discord, you are able to access it. And you can do the same. You create your own Discord, you share your content there, curate your own content for your own learning, but make it available to the public. How much actually your knowledge, in this case, curated content instead of original created content. So you can either create or curate. Create or curate. If you don't want to create, just curate. If you can do both, excellent. Yeah. So, what is the role of you individually? What is the role of institution? In USM, I try to drive this agenda of OER. So we have this so-called USM for the world, transcending physical borders, ethnicity, gender, cultural, income status, and ability. My dear colleagues, when we talk about open education, the philosophy behind it is basically, as I mentioned again and again, stepping out from the confine of your physical classroom, transcending physical borders, transcend ethnicity, transcend gender, transcend cultural, transcend income status and ability. This is a really beautiful, powerful concept. I don't see a reason why you don't want to be part of it. Yeah. So, OER is part of SDG 4. Let's play our role to be a good global citizen by contributing our OER and by playing a role and support SDG 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So in USM, we have our own initiative, OER at USM platform, to provide a platform for academic staff to share their educational content with the world, making USM visible through knowledge and knowledge sharing. Actually, by doing OER, your OER actually would not only benefit a lot of people, will make yourself and your work visible to the world, will make your faculty visible to the world, will make your institution also visible to the world. That's the ripple effect. The ripple effect, from individual to faculty, to institution, to the nation, to the world. Imagine all the universities in Malaysia, public and private, every institution is doing OER. Malaysia will be the champion of OER. Okay? So this is our website, Open Educational Resources. It's not yet really comprehensive because I'm trying to get a buy-in for USM staff to contribute and be part of this OER platform. Yeah, and UNESCO actually has renewed their OER declaration, and now to expand it and they call it inclusive OER, inclusive open educational resources, because they want to make sure when we create OER, that OER is also accessible to people that, disabled, people who cannot see, cannot hear properly, impaired vision, impaired hearing, and so on. So we must design our content in such a way. For example, when we create a video, that video must have a subtitle. Okay, so that would allow people who have, impaired hearing, they can read the subtitle. So that's the example of the inclusive OER. Yeah. So UNESCO also in Malaysia, UNESCO with Professor Fong as the leader, we are formulating the national policy on inclusive OER. Yeah. Hopefully this will soon be launched by the ministry officially, and then the university can adopt this policy to improve their OER, to make sure that their OER is accessible and inclusive accessible to everyone and inclusive. Yeah. So this recently we did the workshop in 2019 to formulate the OER the inclusive OER policy. And I wrote one long blog article after the workshop. I wrote this article nothing about us without us. When I first heard this, when I first heard about this phrase, nothing about us without us, I couldn't figure out what's the meaning. Then I realized actually, when we want to make any policy involving, the people from different background, from different ethnicity, people that are disabled, and others, and other group of people, we must include them when we are doing the policy. Don't do the policy without involving them. That's the meaning of nothing about us without us. So I invite you to read this article. Maybe someone can, Dr. Aisha, if you can Google this article and share the link in the chat box. Yeah, nothing about us without us. Anyway, you will get a site, so you can check again this article by just Googling my name and the title. And I would also encourage you to read this. So, when we talk about open education, global classroom, and the technology that we have now, allow everyone now to learn the concept of learning in demand, learning on demand actually. Yeah. So because people learn best by acquiring information that is relevant to us in the moment, based on our current context. So again, probably you have seen this slide if you follow my presentation. I have this slide as a standard slide. Learning on demand, LOD, anytime, anywhere, anyhow, any place. There's no limit to it. Just in case, just in time, just enough, and just for me, personalized. Okay, this is the concept of learning on demand. And everyone nowadays, you can create your own school, your own academy in the cloud. So you are seeing on the screen now, this is my so-called cloud, virtual cloud. Yeah, I call this cloud. This is actually, I call it upskilling academy, and this is my own academy. I have my own academy now. Yeah, but I don't have time to pay attention so much for the time being. But hopefully, soon, very soon, I will have my own full-blown academy in the cloud. I call it upskilling academy. So currently, this is basically the front page. Knowledge and skills are precious. Keep on learning and upskilling yourself. A warm welcome to everyone, wherever you are in the world. If you are constantly looking for new knowledge and skills, you have come to the right place. The courses are designed to be simple and practical, and the price is very affordable. Of course, it's not free in this case, but I will make it affordable. Start browsing now and start learning. Okay. Do you know that you can create this one? Because there are so many providers out there where you can create your own school, your own academy, your own basically tuition center, everything. You control everything. Yeah. Of course, you have to pay monthly fee, but it's quite affordable. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, internet is a huge repository of knowledge. So in the early days, we have iTunes U. iTunes U, you can find the Ivy League university like Yale University, Stanford University are offering their courses here. A lot of people, millions of people have benefited from this, including this girl. You remember this news? In the news, YouTube trained dentist fined. This girl was practicing, masquerading as a dentist, but she doesn't have a formal qualification as dentist. She got caught by the authority when she was asked, when Judge Rofia Muhammad asked the accused how she had acquired her skill in orthodontics, and if she had worked at dental clinic, she said, I learned it all by watching YouTube, as well as tips from friends. That's the power of content that we have on YouTube and other platforms as well. Of course, I'm not saying that these are of course wrong, but the point that I'm trying to make here, everyone, including here, Julius Yego, the silver Olympic medalist in Rio de Janeiro Olympic, he learned the skill of javelin from YouTube. imagine those people who upload their YouTube video, teach how to do javelin. And this Julius Yego learned from it, won the silver medal in the Olympic. Can you imagine that? Yeah. So after OER, Open Educational Resources, in early 2000, MIT came to the picture. They introduced Open Courseware, and this is where the story of Walter Lewin came in. Yeah, MIT being a well-known institution, they paved the way. They become the pioneer. So when MIT is the pioneer, everyone follows. If USM is the pioneer, not sure whether everyone will follow. But their tagline is unlocking knowledge, empowering minds, free lecture notes, exams, and videos from MIT, no registration required. This is a tipping point in open education. MIT Courseware, I would say, and OER championed by UNESCO, is a tipping point, meaning that there's no turning back. And since then, really online education, I would say, is expanding and exploding exponentially. This is a story of Professor Tran from Stanford University, a very well-known professor teaching artificial intelligence back in early 2000. Yeah, and now we see artificial intelligence is part of this Industry 4.0 educational industry, fourth industry revolution, and so on. Yeah, so he was teaching artificial intelligence in Stanford University to maybe around a group of 100 students in his secret garden, in his classroom. But then he saw what MIT was doing. He said, wow, that's wonderful. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can try. And he tried. And the moment he put his video lectures online, within a few weeks, he got 160,000 students enrolled in his class. Instead of 100 students in his class, he got 100 students from all over the world. Over 160 countries registered in his course. He said, whoa, this is crazy, mind-boggling. To the extent that he resigned from Stanford and founded a platform called Udacity. It's still around. Udacity is still around. That's basically the early days of how MOOC came about. So 2012 was basically the year of MOOC. And if you have not done any MOOC, so let me ask a quick question now. If you can all kindly enough to respond to me. How many of you have created a MOOC? Yes or no? Created, not used, created a MOOC. So let's see. Yes, if you have done, if you have created one. No, if you have not created any MOOC. Let's see a quick one. If everyone can quickly say yes and no, kind enough to participate. Kiman, of course, Kiman is very instrumental behind this MOOC development. In fact, I would say Kiman Unimas is number one in terms of the quality of MOOC, yeah, because Kiman was there and is still there. All right. So I asked a question: how many of you have created a MOOC? So you're answering yes and no here. How many of you have use, not create now? I change the question now. How many of you have been a student in MOOC? Doesn't matter you have completed or not. Let's see. At least one MOOC. At least one MOOC. I'm too lazy to create a separate Mentimeter for this. So just use a chat box here. How many of you have been a student in at least one MOOC? Oh, I can say no, but don't worry. Don't be shy to say no, you know. All right. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Many yes and no. Okay. All right. So, I think we should be now start to create MOOC. Yeah, because MOOC is still there. Although now we are talking about micro-credential, but I still believe in MOOC because you still want to make your, to make your knowledge available, your course available, free to all people around the world. Yeah, micro-credential is basically not free. So if you want to make it free, offer it as MOOC, Massive Open Online Course, or MOOC. MOOC. Some people pronounce MOOC. I think the correct one is MOOC. Yeah? 2012, not long after MIT launched their open courseware, 2012, New York Times declared 2012 as the year of MOOC. And that was the time, roughly at that time, 2013, a delegate from Malaysia, every year actually Malaysian delegate headed by the Prime Minister and some cabinet minister, they will go to visit New York Science Academy. Okay, and during one of those visits in 2013, they were given the presentation about MOOC. And when they saw something from MIT or from New York of Academy of Science, of course, wow, everything that MIT is doing is good. Then they came back. They came back with a mantra, let's do MOOC. And at that time, our education minister is YB Dato Sri Idris Yusof. Let's do MOOC. And I was roped in. Together with my colleagues, Professor Arwah, Professor Hanafi, and so on, to do MOOC, Malaysia MOOC. And I don't regret that because I think it was a privilege for me to be part of Malaysia MOOC. And of course, in Dasar Pembelajaran Negara and so on, in our blueprint, the Malaysia Education Blueprint, Globalised Online Learning, MOOC is one of the initiatives, basically to support the SDG 4, access, quality, equity, unity, and efficiency. So if you join us as one of the global educators, you are basically doing this. You are supporting our blueprint, shift number 9. You are supporting the SDG 4. You are supporting United Nations, UNESCO, as part of global education, access, quality, equity, unity, and efficiency. If you have created at least one MOOC, you are already doing it. Congratulations. If you have not, come and join us, And this is one of the moments. I don't know, Kiman, are you here? In this picture, let's see if I can find Kiman there. So this is me, this is Professor Mushtaq, the earlier adopters of MOOC, Zaid Al-Sagaf here, Tuan Haji Nazri here, and my good friend Arwah Professor Hanafi here. When I look at this picture, it's really, I feel something in my heart because these are the pioneer group who actually drive the MOOC agenda for Malaysia, the whole Malaysia, and Malaysia has one of the unique model of MOOC. We drive 20 public universities, unbelievable. 20 public universities embark on this MOOC. And there's National Technical Committee chaired by Prof. Sharin at that time. We had a lot of meetings in 2014 because we were given the mandate, not the mandate, the instruction to launch our MOOC in 2014. So I must commend Dato Sri Idris for pushing this MOOC agenda and launch it in September 2014. That was, to me, a great moment where we launched Malaysia MOOC to the world. And we have actually a coffee table book to document the history, the story behind Malaysia MOOC. This is the one. You can Google Malaysia MOOC, the journey, and you should be able to download the whole coffee book in PDF format. And I have a chapter there. I have one chapter to tell a story about my involvement in in Malaysia MOOC. And I have a quote from Anthony Robbins there: the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. Yeah. So basically, our MOOC, Malaysia MOOC, is to enhance the quality of teaching and learning, bringing the niche area to global arena, give visibility from individual level to the faculty level to the institutional level to the national level, positioning and branding, and of course to support lifelong learning, which is another shift number number 3 in our blueprint. Yeah, shift number 3. Right. So what's the status of MOOC now? So there is a report in 2020. Yeah. Currently, all the MOOCs around the world, we have 16,000 plus courses from the universities around the world. 950 universities are offering MOOC. That's including the public university or universities in Malaysia as well. There are now MOOC-based degree, 67 MOOC-based degree. And now we have already micro-credential there. So if you think micro-credential is new, it's new in Malaysia, but not new in US especially. We have already 1,000 plus micro-credential and 180 million students enrolling in all these MOOCs and micro-credential as well. Of course, when we talk about the completion, maybe much lower, probably around 15%, 10% or lower. Maybe now it's higher. Yeah. So that's the status of MOOC and micro-credential up to this point in November 2020. Yeah, still quite new. So if you have not explored MOOC, these are some example of the platform. Coursera is probably the most popular. And see the name who are on Coursera: Stanford, Imperial College London, IBM, Google, Duke University, Illinois University, and 190 plus leading universities and companies on Coursera. And most are still free. And of course, if you want to get a degree, you can even get a degree from all these universities on Coursera now, even including master's degree as well. It's Coursera. See John Hopkins University on Coursera. There's another platform, edX. Yeah, there's a consortium of Stanford, Harvard, and MIT. Udacity. Remember Professor Tron just now? He founded Udacity. Udacity is very heavy on high technology kind of courses, computer-based, AI, data, big data, big data, and so on. Those kind of things. Yeah, blockchain, cryptocurrency, whatever you call it. The so-called Industry 4.0 or Fourth Industrial Revolution kind of courses can be found here in Udacity. You can even get a nano degree, and from there you can get a degree. There is another platform. What is this? Iversity, based in German. I remember the early days when I was looking for a platform for Malaysia MOOC. I was interviewed by Iversity about 40-45 minutes. They are quite reluctant to take Malaysia MOOC on their platform because they probably not, I don't know whether they are skeptical of the quality of our courses. Finally, we use open learning. When we launched our MOOC, I think about 1 or 2 weeks after that, they contacted me. They contacted me because they saw what we have on our MOOC on open learning platform, and only then they become interested. But I say, sorry, thank you, bye-bye. All right. So now the world can see the quality of our education. Just like Walter Lewin opened up his secret garden, Professor Tran opened up his secret garden and share with us the quality of Stanford, the quality of MIT education. There's another MOOC platform, Canvas, open learning, where our Malaysia MOOC is now on this platform. USM still using open learning. Our micro-credential is also using open learning. And it's a Malaysia MOOC you can explore. But sad to say, from the 20 public universities initially, I think there's only less than, I think probably 5 or 6 public universities still having their MOOC on open learning. Yeah. And this is a USM MOOC platform. Feel free to come and visit our MOOC platform. We are still aggressively getting our staff to create the MOOC on our platform. Yeah, last year we have MOOC challenge. We have a prize money, and this year we have MOOC challenge 2021. Okay, because we want to get more and more people to create MOOC on our USM MOOC platform. So from OER to MOOC to micro-credential. Now we talk. A lot of people now are interested to embark on micro-credential. Why not? I think micro-credential is a game changer. But micro-credential, unlike MOOC, is basically has a business model. It's more for income generation. So now we have two. If you want to support the SDG 4 and our blueprint, go for MOOC. But at the same time, we can also have micro-credential. So we have two. Yeah, micro-credential for income generation, MOOC for free. The moment you ask people to pay for your MOOC, it's no longer MOOC. That's what I believe. Yeah. If you want people to pay, that's the micro-credential. Okay, that's the two things there we have to differentiate. Jeff Wenner, LinkedIn CEO, he said, "This is a moment in history when people can learn anytime, anywhere, and with no boundaries." We talk micro-credential is about looking at credentialing in different ways. You know, we talk about alternative credential, we talk about digital credential, digital badges, digital certificate, which will provide a new path and new opportunities, especially for working people, working adults out there. We call it non-traditional students who still want to get a formal degree, but instead of having no option, go through ODL, open distance learning, or go through the micro-credential path. They have now more options. So we actually make our education more flexible. We can have a more fluid curriculum through micro-credential. And that's why you see now, even universities in US now, they started open Courseware, they started OER, and now they are also embarking into micro-credential. Now we can see some of these reputable universities, they are offering not only bachelor program, but they are offering micro bachelor program. Basically, they unpack the curriculum, they unbundle the curriculum, the 4-year bachelor degree into a series of micro bachelor program. Okay, so that's you can see an example here on edX platform, a micro bachelor program for undergraduate education. So they promote this as affordable, 100% online, real college credit, and very flexible and affordable as well. So next time when we hear someone has a degree, you know, a politician, for example, they have a degree and they have a PhD. Don't too quick. Don't mock them. Don't be too quick to mock them, yeah, because the degree, the online degree could be from Stanford or from MIT or from some reputable university, because this now the quality of online education is of equivalent, is not, if not more, than the quality of the traditional, conventional face-to-face program. Okay. So next year, 2021 and beyond, we will have our accredited program to run as a face-to-face conventional, but we would have the same version of it running as ODL as well as micro-credential. And then we can unpack the program and we can offer also as a series of certificate using the stackable credential model. So finally, the last part, 12:40 now. The last part, I just want to share my personal journey on online education, so-called how I step out from my secret garden and how I, putting myself as one of the person, the global community, global educators. I have a YouTube channel here. I'm very proud of. Our friend Kiman also have a very good channel. This is an old screenshot. Currently, I have 5.5 point something plus subscribers here. But this is what I want to say to everyone here. Let's everyone have a proper YouTube channel, start creating content and upload to your channel. I want to say this very, very strong message here. Whatever platform that you have and whatever content that you have on your platform, this will become your gateway to the world. Gateway to the world. And the world to you. And by having this gateway to the world, it will open up numerous windows of opportunity for you. It will give you visibility. It will position you. You can position yourself based on the content that you create as an educator. Yeah. So there are a lot of good things that will come knocking your door. So the door of opportunities, the windows of opportunity, people will come and knocking your door rather than you go out and knocking other people's door. This is why I want to say that I want to urge everyone to have your platform, YouTube, blog, slide share, everything there and start creating content and create that ripple effect. Yeah. And Alhamdulillah, currently I have soon, hopefully, the views from my YouTube channel will reach 1 million. Currently, it's about 900 something. This is since 2009. Yeah, when I set up this platform. Currently, I have 53,000 hours of watch time. Lifetime, yeah, since 2009 until now. And I have 5.6K subscribers now. And my top 10 video, surprisingly, is actually my teaching video in palm oil production. You see the top 3 here is actually palm oil. And you know, for these top 3, when I look at the countries, the top 10 countries, the number 2 is actually US. All right, so this is a top 3 video in my YouTube channel. Can you imagine my video here, the extraction of palm oil refining and so on, has been viewed by people almost like 100, almost I think 190 countries in the world. Yeah. So this is what I mean by reaching out the global learners, global educators, global classroom, meaning now your content, because I'm teaching this course, my palm oil production for a group of my students is about 50 to 60 students in my class. But now I reach out people around the world. Yeah. My slide share. Yeah. I have probably about 50 plus slides now, slides presentation now. I have not uploaded anything yet. So my slide share is about now I have 185,000 views, 13,000 downloads from 160 countries. Don't you want your content to spread out all over the world? I'm sure, you know, many of you want to spread and share the knowledge. And you can start creating MOOCs. So this is some of my MOOCs. Yeah, start creating MOOCs now. And you can also teach online and get paid. You can generate income. You can earn actually by teaching online. For example, I have courses on Udemy here. Yeah. You can also teach to earn money also. Yeah. In Skillshare, I have a few courses on Skillshare. In fact, I earn more money on Skillshare than Udemy actually, for some reason. Ebooks, you can create ebooks as part of your OER content that you can share also, you know, and you can blog, creating content by using blog, the easiest way, you know, write blogs and share with people, share your thoughts, share your knowledge, in the blog, and that's my blog link there. So this example of my blog article. Using, if you don't want to create original content, then learn how to curate using platform like Wakelet here. Yeah. So you can find all this information about Wakelet, for example, in my YouTube channel in Kiman. Kiman has done some a lot of tutorial on using all this application. Yeah, curate using Pinterest, for example. This is all called curation. Yeah, curate, meaning that you just put together content from other people, then make it available, share with the public as well. So if you cannot create, then curate. Share content to your Twitter. So finally, I want to share the joy, the feedback I get from people. People appreciate what we do. So, they send me email. For example, you can see that this is from a consultant in palm oil. Actually, when he saw my palm oil video, he sent an email. He said, "I love your presentation. It's such a pleasure to watch. Such a pleasure to watch your palm oil processing video. I wonder if the box of chocolate I'm posting to you from Geneva, with my regards, will reach you unmelted at your university in Penang." Yeah, at that time I have not received the chocolate. After a few days after the email, I received this chocolate. And you can see, yeah, true enough, the chocolate has melted, and with a postcard from him. This is really what make my life very interesting, because I know people, they value my content, they learn something, they use that in their work, in their study. For example, here, this from a graduate student in Kenya, because I teach this course, and he's using the course for his own, class. I must confess that your simple but perfect teaching methodology, which you use to explore all the topics ranging from food rheology to oil technology, has really come in handy for me in my pursuit of become a great food scientist. You are not touching the lives of only Malaysian students through your devoted teaching method, but also the life of students all over the globe. It's such very touching and encouraging positive words that really give the energy for me to create more. It's another example. Yeah, Prof Karim is the best breakdown explanation that I have found on the whole web from this guy. I don't know he's from where. I just guessed this name, Guy Bertrand Fongio. Is it from France? This one from Peru, because he said he's from Peru. Excellent video, Professor Abd Karim Alias. Greetings from Peru. There's another one from, I don't know from where, this one. India, I think, from India. Again, the same course, food rheology. I get a lecturer teaching chemical engineering in rheology, but he used my video for his student, because he said my video, the way I explain the concept in the video is very easy to understand. Okay? So the take-home message, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to urge all of you, my fellow educators, step out from the physical boundary of the classroom and reach out the global learners. It's not easy, it's time consuming. And if you want to do this out of your passion. Don't hope anything more. Don't hope that what you are doing here will be given credit for the SKT, LPP, or promotion. If you are hoping for something for external reward, then you won't be able to sustain this effort. The reason why I can sustain it from 2000, the early days when I did my YouTube, when I set up my YouTube in 2009 and until now, because it is driven by passion, inner passion, rather than driven by anything else. So that's the take-home message. So, ladies and gentlemen, words may inspire. Simon Sinek kata words may inspire, but only action creates change. Most of us live our lives by accident. We live life as it happens. Fulfillment comes when we live our lives on purpose. So another of the quote that I really like and I live by it: whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So thank you for listening, everyone. I know we are hungry, you are hungry, but I would like to thank you for listening to my presentation. That's my email and my standard slides. Probably those who follow my presentation, this one: stay hungry, stay hungry for new knowledge, stay foolish, be creative, be innovative, and from me, stay strong. And that's a slide, the only slide. Probably you want to take a picture now or take a screenshot so that you get the link, or someone can copy the link. Who is that someone? It should be me. Let me copy the link, download. Then I put in the chat box here, make it easy for you. Okay. So that's the link to download the PowerPoint. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Aisha and UiTM for having me. Sorry for any glitches just now. And I hope the time that you spend here, almost 2 hours, is a time worth spending. I hope it's something that you can take away from my presentation here and would inspire you. Again, my mission is to inspire all of you to join me as part of Global Educators. Over to you, Dr. Aisha. Thank you very much. Feel free to ask any questions. Dr. Aisha, okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Welcome, salam.
I'm Zohaira. I'm an early childhood educator and an education activist. I got to know about this from the ISU Pendidikan group.
Oh, okay. Well,
Just like to,
yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember now.
I'm very interested to know, I mean, the steps that you need to take. For example, if you have no idea where to start, as you say, the first thing I suppose is to Google the terminologies that you have there, right?
Yes.
And then from there, you look at the samples of what is available.
Yeah.
Are these the initial steps that you need to take?
Yes. Well, if you're very new, I mean, you don't know how to start or where to start, I think it's good to get someone who are into it already and get guidance. Don't worry. If you want to talk to me, I'm always available to help anyone who like to embark on online, so I can kind of give guidance, advice, how to start. To start small and then from there. Yeah, don't worry. Just the easiest is to get someone to guide. That will kind of cut short the learning curve.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay. No worries. Oh yeah, I see one question there, but from Shahida. Can I read the question?
Yes, Prof, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Just now I couldn't. Okay.
Oh, okay. There's a question. How can school teachers become or contribute to become global educators? Well, as simple as starting a blog, for example. You start a blog. You can use there are many blog platforms like Medium, the one that I'm using now, WordPress, or Google Blogspot. Write something. Share your thought. It's already sharing your knowledge. Or if you are more kind of ambitious, start creating video content. Create your YouTube channel. Short videos will do, 1 minute or less, and start upload to YouTube. You can share your PowerPoint presentation. Make sure there is no copyright issue. Share your PowerPoint presentation to SlideShare. There's another platform there. Or that's your own content, or that as a content creators. Or you can curate. Curate means we compile content or resources from other people in one platform. Example, Wakelet. Yeah, Wakelet. So if you're not familiar with all this, then you join, the webinar where we teach people how to use this, how to use that, how to create this, how to create that. So you join, then from there, you learn one thing, one skill, micro-learning series, for example. You learn one thing, then apply, create something. So start small. Yeah. My advice is start small. Don't try to do so much because you get overwhelmed easily. If you get overwhelmed, then maybe you will stop because there's so much, so much time to spend on. So start small. That's my advice always. Start small but sustainable. consistent, you know.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Salam. Yes.
May I ask questions?
Sure.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Amin bin Hassan from Faculty of Pharmacy UiTM campus Batam. Okay. I would like to thank you for your very interesting and inspiring sharing.
Thank you
for these sessions. Okay, my questions: how we can get? Is there any international or professional body to certify us as a global educator? Do we have?
No, I don't think so. But you can take programs like, for example, we have a program from our friend Nazrin, Muhammad Nazrin, program like VLC, Virtual Learning Cluster program, VLC. So basically, they will teach you how to conduct online session. But that's basically how to conduct online session. But to be recognized as a global educator, there is no such kind of organization that would give you that certification. And I don't think that should be the way also, you know. My idea of when we do this, we don't think about the recognition that people will recognize us as a global educator, but we are doing it because we want to be part of it, and we want to contribute the cost, yeah, to the cost mean to the reason why we are doing it. That's why I mean that.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. I think that would be Dr. Amin. I think that would be a better way because we are doing it from our heart. As I mentioned the last part just now, we are not doing it for any external recognition or external motivation. We are doing it because we want to change the world. We want to, make a difference in people's life around the world.
Okay. Okay, we're coming at to 1 o'clock, Prof. I think if any participants wish to discussion with Prof, maybe you can email Prof. And at the moment, I think I'd like to just announce to participants that please fill out the attendance and feedback form. It's in the chat box, and the attendance form will close and don't forget to attend all the 6 today plus another 5 coming, and the next one is we're going to have Dr. Nusraya Adina Suratman on teaching from distance, implementing good practices. She's the winner for the UiTM ODL award last year. So don't forget to give Prof. Karim a thumbs up, a clap, for the fantastic session as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I just hope that people will benefit from the time this morning. That's all I need. That's what I want,
Prof, that you have more to share actually. Thank you for being here, and honestly. Thank you as well. Thank you everyone. Thank you Kiman. Vina, thank you for coming. Siapa lagi? Karim. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
For always sharing your passion. I'm one of the one that got infected by your passion. So
too much passion sometimes.
Too much passion.
Lupa diri.
Anyway, thank you very much, Prof. Karim, for a wonderful talk. Yeah.
Thank you. Is it from the Dean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I came back in. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very
much. Yeah. Hope to probably call you again for some more webinars.
Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay. All right.
So enjoy lunch. Stay safe.
Right. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone.
Stay healthy and stay productive.
Dia tak ada makan.
Jumpa lagi, Prof. Next time.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And don't forget our next webinar on Thursday at 3 p.m.
Inshallah.
Okay, jumpa inshallah. Assalamualaikum.